Hello everybody, today I am doing a brand new original book tag. This is called the Used Bookstore tag, created by Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading, and it's so new she just did it today and tagged me in her video, and decided to do this right quickly because A, I thought, hey, I can do all these, and B, I had my first day back after having 5 months off to a new job at FedEx, and the back of my knees are absolutely killing me. And I thought I need a little something to pick me back up mentally so I can not think about the pain going through both of my knees right now. So there are 11 prompts to this, one of them being to tag people. Prompt number 1. What is your favorite or most often visited used bookstore, and what sets it apart or makes it special? So let me do a little comparison thing here, because I have 3, I guess you would call them major used bookstores in my area. There's a bunch, but these are kind of standoutish. One of them is Second and Charles, which is a chain of used bookstores. One is a landmark. The other 2 are landmarks, in fact. One is the John K. King Used Bookstore in downtown Detroit. It is 4 levels high, about 100 feet long, and they boast 1 million books, and I believe it. And in downtown Ann Arbor, Michigan, you have the Dawn Treader Used Bookstore sitting right in the middle of that city. Now, Second and Charles, I'm going to call it kind of my favorite, most visited. One big reason is because it is indeed the easiest to get to. It's an hour and 15 minutes away, but it's just a simple major roads drive to get there. John K. King Bookstore in Detroit. Okay, highway, and you exit, and it's right up there, right at the top of an exit. It's actually, I guess, fairly easy to get to, but trying to get in and out of it is a little risky because it's just one lane in and out of there, and you're coming around a blind corner both entering and exiting. Also, I haven't been there in a while. Some parts of Detroit have been getting cleaned up, but not all of it. And so I haven't been there in a long time, just out of pure sense of self-value. It's a dangerous area down there. I used to go there all the time. Well, let's call it a couple times a week, because for about I want to say it was about an 8 months worth of time, I had a job that was about 10 minutes from it. There was an hour-long lunch, so I'd go hop down there and take a breeze through their browse through their science fiction and fantasy section. Dawn Treader, it's congested Ann Arbor, cars and people, and it's just so narrow getting through, and you have to go into a parking garage, and sometimes you got to be real careful. Sometimes you got to go all the way to the top because there's not enough parking spots. And I'll be damned, a couple years ago, I went to leave, and I had parked next to a stanchion. I was like, don't hit that. Bam, I hit it. $2,000. Just like that. So they're a little difficult, a couple are a little difficult to get to. Second Charles, easier, much simpler. Pull in, you're done. Good. Prompt number 2, does your used bookstore take credit? If so, how much credit do you get for your books? They give you cash for your books? So Second and Charles, the deal is you can get cash for whatever you bring in, but it'll be substantially lower. So if you just take store credit, you get a higher dollar amount. I cannot for the life of me remember how much it is. I don't usually bring books in to trade out like that at used bookstores. I just generally keep my books. I could probably use an unhaul. I did one at Second and Charles, I don't know how many years ago, 6, 7 years ago. Bought them 175 books, which I called ahead for, because they do have a little bit of a limit, and I called ahead, got permission, and then the 2 employees that were there the next morning started to freak out a little bit because I was bringing in box after box after box. They're like, sir, we have a limit. It's like, oh, I got permission, thanks. And they took care of me. I think I cashed, yeah, I did. I cashed them. So I didn't, at the time I went there, I didn't see anything that I wanted. So I for 175 books, I got, I want to say it was 40 or 50 or something like that. $100, so it's probably like $1,700. Oh my God, worth of books I gave away for 40, 50 bucks. Prompt number 3. How often do you go to your used bookstore? Can you share how much credit you have there? Like, I don't really have any credit in any of them. It's just maybe just a handful of times a year, because it is an hour and 15 minutes away. But I will make the job probably once every season or so. So 4 times a year sounds pretty good. Number 4, what, if any, restrictions does your used bookstore have on how you can use your credit? I have no idea. It's because I just don't use credit that often. Number 5, how is your used bookstore organized? What do you like and or dislike about how it's organized? So I don't have any major gripes, but Second and Charles is basically like if Barnes and Noble were used books. It's basically like that. It's a very large store. Matter of fact, is it larger than any? Yeah, it's probably bigger than most Barnes and Noble stores, and it's like 90 or 95% used books. They do have new stuff. They do have some used new books and new role-playing game material, that kind of thing. But just neat and tidy store. One thing good about going to used bookstore, like kind of like the atmosphere and the smell of a used bookstore. Second and Charles doesn't smell like a used bookstore. The books smell like used books, but it just doesn't have that odor that we love so much. 6, what is the best find or deal you got at a used bookstore? So this right here, show this to you. This is called The Third Millennium, A History of the World, AD 2000 to 3000 by Brian Stapleford and David Langford. Give you a little look at it there. And it is literally, it's a science fiction book, but it is written as if it's the year 3000, and they recap the history of about 1,000 years. And so everything, this was out in the 80s, and so they were, making predictions about the internet, about life extension, about space exploration. I probably say some of this is a bit outdated and some of it isn't, or they maybe got the times incorrect of when something's going to happen. Making people younger again seems to be on its way within years or a decade or something like that. Whereas in here, it's not going to happen for about 300 or 400 years or something. I can't remember the exact times. This is a fun book. It's mostly text, but there are pictures and some illustrations. There's some geopolitical stuff, which just makes me fall asleep. I found this book originally in I guess that would be 89, because I went part-time to a public college, and I had a little time in the afternoon, and I found this in there, and read it quite a bit when I was in there, when I always had the extra time. And a few years go by, and I told a friend about it, and he wanted it. I was like, well, this is the only place I know where it is. And so we actually planned a theft to go into this college library and probably slice it open looking for the thing that goes through the scanner, because they did have them, the theft detection devices. So we planned a heist to get this book. And we never did it, but a few years later I found it in a used bookstore. And it was very happy. A little piece of my own personal history I found right there. Let's put this down over here. Number 7, is there something you saw at your used bookstore and now you regret not purchasing it? So I have another book that has a little story. So this is the Hard SF Renaissance, edited by David G. Hartwell and Catherine Kramer. There's a bunch of short stories of the hard sci-fi variety, and I remember when this was brand new in Barnes & Noble, and I never got it. What got me was this one called Genesis, where it describes in wonderful detail about this Dyson sphere civilization that creates a sail, creates a laser, and sends it off at high G to another star to have dealings in that solar system. I always wanted to give it. I never did. Then I remember seeing it as a used book a few times, and just didn't get it. And then this disappeared from my life for, it must have been 15 years, maybe 20. And I just ran into it into a used bookstore and said, I don't care if I never read a word of this, I'm getting this damn book. Because it's dodging me too much and I wanted to get it, and I did. Number 8, is there a book you are always on the hunt for at your used bookstore? So I should have got it off the shelf, but I didn't. One author, actually, his name's Lawrence Watt Evans, and that's W-A-T-T hyphenated Evans, and he has a series of books called Ethshar, and it starts with an old classic called The Misenchanted Sword, and I don't know how many books are in this series. I want to say around, I think it's like 14 or something, and I've read most of them, but not all of them. And I could easily just go on Amazon and get the ones I never did get. But I just always thought of it as a nice used bookstore goal. So I hold off and I just wait. And whenever I go to a used bookstore, go right to the W's and see if they got any. And they usually have some. Just not, they usually have the ones that I already have is the issue. Is there number 9, if you could run your used bookstore for a day, what changes would you make? I'm pretty sure Second and Charles doesn't do this. They do have a new book section, but it's new books. So I would wonder if it would be a good idea to take any of the used books you just got and put them in a section right there in front of the store to say, here's what we got in from people dropping off books, and see if that would make some kind of sales difference. Give it a week and then go put them back on the shelves. I think that'd be a good idea. Number 10, if you could go used book shopping with any booktuber in any city, who would you go with and where? So I have an instant loyalty answer here because I am a small booktuber. I think I generally get a dozen views per video. Every once in a while I get one in 100. I got a few outstanding ones, that kind of thing. I get a few comments from time to time, but I have one person who's ever since we ran into each other on YouTube has been commenting on every video I've made, and she lives in Melbourne, Australia, and that is Chanel at Chanel Chapter and Chanel Days, and I would, just out of pure loyalty, go book shopping with her. And she has nice videos where she goes gets dressed up, goes out, goes to the cafe, goes to the bookstores, takes you along for the rides. Pretty nice. So that's who I would go with. Number 11, tag some booktubers. So I looked at a list that Kelly made, and some of the people that I would have tagged are in it. So except one, I want to get his name right, so I didn't. Where'd he go? Here we go. So this dude just started his channel. It is already overbooked, and that's who I'm going to tag to do this video. There you go. That's it. Well, that felt pretty damn good. It's going to be a while for my next one, I think, because now I got to work a job every day, and the book I'm reading right now is a chunker. So maybe I'll look for some quick and easy book tag videos to do until I can make another actual book video. That's it. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your week. Bye-bye now.